how many of you in this room actually know already how to improve your life? You already know where to focus on your life, and you probably know what to do, but you haven't done it yet. Be honest, raise your hands. Okay, about half the room of truth tellers, and half the room, I'll just pretend you didn't hear the questions. Because who knows exactly what you need to do to change already? Right? People say, oh, I want to lose weight, Brendon. I don't know why. I haven't lost weight. I'll say, do you know how? Yes. Have you gone to the gym? So people know what to do, it's that they failed to do it. That essence is called common sense. We know what to do, but the failure in the practice comes from a failure sometimes of will, sometimes of circumstance, sometimes of something. But here's what I'd love you to do. If you're failing to implement something you know you should already do, please tune in. If you are failing to implement something you already know you can do, your vision for your life is stuck to today. Your vision is stuck to yesterday. Because if you have a different vision for your life and you know what to do, and that vision is compelling, that vision is something that is real and important and exciting for you, guess what? You do it. If it's a fake vision, a half vision, a mimicry vision, a follow the leader vision, not your vision, that's why you're not doing the basics, right? If you haven't lost the weight, you don't have a vision for your life healthfully yet. You want to lose pounds, but you haven't envisioned a healthy life. So even the commonsensical things, you don't do it, right? Who has eaten a friggin' bag of chips in the last 30 days? A whole bag of chips. Who ate that bag of chips at one sitting? Who ate the bag of chips in one sitting and had to fight not to open the second bag? Okay, who opened the second bag? Anybody? Okay. I'm just making sure you're all being real here. But let's go, it's not just health. Think about that dream you have. You know you wanted to write. Like my dream was to be a writer and a coach, right? I want to be a writer and I want to be a life coach or business coach. Okay, cool. That's what I wanted to do. Common sense says, Brendon, sit down and write every day. But I didn't see it yet. I didn't visualize that vision and own that dream yet. It was an idea, but it wasn't a vision in my heart. I didn't see it, feel it, walk through it. I remember I said, one day I'm going to be comfortable talking to people because this is not how I came out of the womb. I know for a very long time I was talking to people and speaking on a stage, especially one that big, no, thank you, ma'am. Not of an interest. And then I said, well, you know what? If I really want to make a difference in the world, I have to communicate better. I really have to get better at that. And so I would lay in bed every morning, and I would lay there and I would visualize myself, see a vision of my future on a stage. And I would see myself walk into one side and saying something amazing, and they would stand on their feet because I said something amazing. And then I went to the other side and I said something equally amazing. And all the amazing just kept coming out. And people would stand and they would shout and they would scream and I would see it. And as I was visualizing that vision of myself, guess what? I would be sitting in bed in complete anxiety. I'd be sweating out the armpits. You ever dream of your vision of your future and it makes you sweat? Hey, oh, I'm weird, okay. Are you all here? Say, I'm here. You've never seen a vision of your future and it kind of freaked you out? If you haven't, you're not dreaming big enough yet, babe. If something in the future doesn't scare the shit out of you, forgive my language, you haven't even started dreaming. If something in the future doesn't scare you, like, ooh, that, like, see, if I want to be a public speaker and I don't think of a stage that big and I don't sweat, I better think of a bigger stage until I start sweating, right? To allow that discomfort, that vision that's bigger, because that's sometimes, look, we'll talk about willpower, we'll talk about confidence, we'll talk about discipline, but I'm here to tell you a lot of the reason people don't take daily, real, practical, common sense efforts towards their dreams is they don't see the dream yet. They haven't laid awake and thought about it long enough. They thought, wouldn't that be nice? There's a difference between wouldn't that be nice and I own this dream. It is in my heart, it is in my legs, it is in my body. I feel it, I sense it, that's mine, let's go. You don't luck into that. You decide what you want and you see it and you visualize it and you step into it mentally, day after day after day. And people say, oh, well, Brendon, what if it doesn't come true? I'm like, oh, babe, it's highly likely it won't. But who taught you it was about the destination? Didn't we all learn it's about the journey? Turn to the person left, right, shake them, say, it's about the journey. It's about the journey. One of the reasons common practice isn't common practice is because it is so common. It's mundane efforts every day. Common practice. It's just same thing. It doesn't look like a lot, doesn't feel like a lot. It's little inches, steps forward, incremental advancement. It's not sexy. We want the destination. And in the day when we don't feel the destination, we're like, ugh, I dream of the big stage, but then my first stage was that little room you all saw, and some people would go, oh, well, that's not it. And I say, oh, of course. Gonna start small. Keep trying. Keep getting better. Learn to talk to people. Get out of my weird shell. Not be so awkward and just try to, get many words out in a row. It wasn't like, oh, one day I'm going to speak in front of, this and that and arenas. That happened and I could see it and I forced myself to see it, but I would take the common everyday practices because the visions were mine. They were my dreams. Don't think one day you'll have a vision and become so strong. See a little bit of the vision and keep visualizing it. Keep visualizing it. Keep seeing it. Keep visualizing. Every morning for 3 years, I would lay there and imagine myself talking better. Imagine myself on stage, working the stage, getting away from the podium, right? You don't see a podium. There's nothing up here. There's not a chair up here at all. I got 38 feet to work here, and then I got another mile to lap the room. I'm gonna work it. I had to see myself walking. That's weird. Okay, yeah, walk, Brendon, move. You have to see this stuff. You all with me so far? Don't think the vision has to be complete. The vision has to be tapped every day. Tap into it, see it, think about it, see it, think about it, see it, think about it. And it comes into more formation. Everyone wants their vision, their dream, delivered as a complete Netflix package. I'm like, that's not how it goes. You see a little piece of it and you observe it and play it out. See another piece, observe it, think it out, observe it, think it out, observe it, think it out.
Hey my friends, it's Brendon Burchard. I hope you are having a spectacular day today. I am thrilled to be with you and to really discuss and dive deep into how do you have that comeback story in your life. If you've been down, you've been out, you've been frustrated, you've been challenged, people have been doubting you, you've doubted yourself, you feel like you failed, you feel like you struggled, you feel like you're not breaking through or activating your full potential. Bam! Do not wait until X happens for you to start changing your behavior, changing your lifestyle, changing your habits, and starting this new chapter. Do not wait. Many of you are in a wait story. You're in a waiting pattern. I want you to think about this. You're like, oh, no, soon as the kids leave, Brendon. Once the kids leave, yeah. Then we can be happy once the kids leave. Things will be good. We're just going to wait. No. It's time to start living your life each day. I had this friend of mine recently. It's kind of funny, literally a person who's been, someone I've been coaching at a high level for multiple years in our Certified High Performance Coaching Program. And this person literally said to me on a coaching call this last week, said, oh yeah, Brendon, I've been waiting to change my diet here. I'm going to do that, but I'm going to wait till after rehab. Literally said, I'm going to wait until after rehab. I'm like, what? No, but that's how, and you all, I know I hope you think that's as funny as I do, but listen, it's just as silly for you to be telling yourself, well, I'll wait until I feel better one day. I'll wait until one day, the kids leave. I'll wait until I'm rich. I'll wait until we get the new house. I'll wait until we start the new job. I'll wait until we move to the new city. I'll wait until she finally says yes. I'll wait until he finally approves. I'll wait until I finally feel like it. Do not wait until. Tomorrow is the beginning of the new chapter. Because the new chapter always begins with a new way of thinking, doesn't it? It starts with a new way of being in the world, new habits. And you don't have to wait for people to understand you. You don't have to wait for anybody to give you permission or approval. Like, you have to accept it's on you. That's where this begins. The comeback story happens when you go, it's on me, it's my choice, here we go. Tomorrow I'm going to start speaking to myself in healthier ways. Tomorrow I'm going to start eating healthier. Tomorrow I'm going to start working out more. Tomorrow I'm going to protect my time more. Tomorrow I'm going to value my wellness more. Tomorrow I'm going to do my art more. Tomorrow I'm going to be happier and more connected. It's a choice. It's a choice for you. It's a choice for you. Got it? Like, at some point you have to go, I don't have to wait anymore. Some of you are waiting until you earn something, or you're certified at this, or you get promoted to that. And what I'd love for you to do in your own honesty today is ask, where have you been waiting? Like, what's that thing you're like, well, I'll do that someday. Because listen, the more that you are waiting on, the more that restlessness inside is activating. The more that you're waiting on, the things that you know you need to be, or do, or create, or move towards, the more of those, they stack up an internal dislike. You start feeling like your psychology goes, well, I want these things, I know they're important to me, but I'm not acting towards them. And what it does is it erodes your self-trust. Do you know why so many people say in the chapters of discouragement versus starting the comeback story? Because they're still living in self-distrust. And a lot of that self-distrust isn't because they're a bad person. It's because there's a part of them that's waiting. And their mind and their body in the background is saying, hey, Brendon, do these things. And my mind goes, I know those are good things, and those are the right things. But I feel bad about myself today. So instead, I'll go watch 3 seasons of something on Netflix. You know what it is. I know those are the right things to do, or that's the right way for me to behave, but I'm going to wait until she's better. You know what? It is nice to be nice, but I'm not going to be nice because look at her behavior. So I'm going to be an ass just as long as she is. And your back of your mind goes, but that's not congruent with who you are. Why are you acting and behaving to somebody else's level and waiting to be your best self? The reason so many people live in the discouragement story versus the comeback story is because of self-distrust. They're not doing now what they know they can, should. They're not being now who they can and should. They are not moving forward like they know their potential is capable of. And inside, it's like every single thing that you're waiting on that you know you should do is one more layer of distrust in your identity. And you stack up enough waitings on somebody, things they know they should do, waiting to live their life, waiting to speak well to themselves, waiting to start the diet or the nutrition plan or the healthy activities, and their brain starts distrusting themselves. Says, you know what, I can't count on you to do the things you know you should do. I hope you guys get what I'm talking about. It's a way of hurting ourselves, is waiting. The longer you wait on the decisions or forging the character that you know you should do, the more hurtful it is to your character and your identity. Now, I know some of you come here for a lot more motivation than that, but I do believe that my role as your virtual coach is sometimes to have you look at yourself and be honest here. It's hard to start your comeback story if you can't trust yourself to wake up tomorrow and do the things you know that are right for your life. That means some of you, you've been waiting to have that difficult conversation with your spouse until never. Some of you have been waiting to ask for that thing you dream of at work until never. Some of you have been waiting to start that business or that new book or that new endeavor until never. Now you tell yourself, no, until you know these things. And what you're telling yourself is, I'm going to wait until all the perfect things completely line up. When it's all perfect, then I'll go. And your brain goes, you are so full of crap. You know you're waiting because you're scared or you're mad at yourself or you don't trust yourself. So what are you doing here, brain? You're lying to yourself. And then your heart, your spirit knows you can't trust yourself. And that's why you're not being more decisive in starting the new story and the new chapter. And listen, I know I'm teasing a little bit here today, and I try to poke fun a little bit, but I spend my life with people who are literally paying $500,000 or more to work with me. And I cannot tell you how many times this is the issue for them. And you would think, oh no, if they can afford that, they must not have this issue. I'm here to tell you, everyone has that issue. The people who I coach on the covers of magazines, my friends, they have this issue. When I was down and out and my worst of myself, I had that issue. I know you all have that issue. We all do things that create self-distrust inside. And so do not wait. Do not wait until the perfect things. So what I'd love for you to do is you got a journal here today. And I hope you have a journal somewhere, a piece of paper, napkin, write it on with lipstick on the floor if you have to, or wherever you got to put it. I don't care where you got to put it, ladies and gentlemen. What I'd love for you to do is write out the do not wait list. Right? Do not wait to say I love you to my spouse, even though you might be in a fight. Do not wait to start writing that book until you're rich and you have all this time. Do not wait to create a better relationship with the kids until they're more mature. Do not wait. Have that do not wait list, because it's a hard one, and I know I can see it. John Baptiste is saying oof, and Kimberly's saying darn it. I can see you guys. I'm here with you, But write out that do not wait list. I was like, do not wait, and it could be simple things, dream things. I literally wrote one time, maybe a couple months ago, I wrote, do not wait to move to the place that you would love to live and create every day. Now I'm in Puerto Rico. Do not wait to get yourself healthier just because, you're busy. Do not wait. I think a do not wait list can be really great. Really great. Really great. Don't wait until everything's perfect, my friend. The new chapter, that's today. Discouragement story, comeback story. Comeback story starts with asking, where have I been waiting? Because my body, my mind needs to trust itself. I need to trust myself to take action towards the things that matter the most. That's principle number one. Principle number two. Here we go. We've got to go from victim to role model. The biggest shift in many people's lives, the ultimate comeback story begins with this one. It goes from, you know what? They took advantage of me. This wasn't fair. I don't like them. It was just, terrible. And listen, I am not here to say that what you have been through in your life was not significant, awful, tragic, hard. You know what? I hate when people do that. They try to say, oh no, what you've been through, that's nothing because everyone else went through all these other things. Now, I appreciate the perspective, but if you had a hard time in your life, you had a hard time. Maybe you weren't equipped with the coping mechanisms to deal with it, or the maturity, or the support. Maybe somebody really took advantage of you. I get that. Trust me. But I'm here to say there is a mental shift that goes from victimhood to survivorship, but then to being a role model. The greatest comeback stories happen when someone goes, you know what? I need to overcome this because my kids are watching. I need to overcome this because my team's going to see how I deal with this. I need to overcome this because everyone else is expecting me to blame, stop, and freeze. And if I rise up, maybe I can be a story of inspiration for somebody else, even if rising up is so friggin' hard. You know? Even if rising up is so hard, I know that rising up might inspire someone else. Because if you can't inspire yourself for yourself, some of you will do more for other people than you will do for yourselves. Isn't that true? Some of you will do more for yourself for other people than you will do for yourself. So I always tell you, if you are down and out, that's why I always say, ask who needs you on your A game each day. It's a card right next to my computer. Who needs me on my A game today? Because I will do more for other people to serve other people than sometimes I will. I can be very, believe it, people are like, wait, Brendon, did you just say you can be lazy? I'm like, I can totally be lazy. I'm from Montana. I can chill out on the mountain or on the lake or in the river with a fly pole all day happily. All right, I'm good at chilling. But I also know that many people don't make a turn in their life. They don't realize that if they could overcome it, they could inspire people. You know, it was one of the things that kept me going when I had the brain injury. I know we got a lot of new people here, but in 2011, I wrecked a four-wheeler, an ATV. And I wrecked it in such a way that I really damaged my body. I mean, if you ever see this big scar on my hand that some of you guys have seen, I got a big metal wrist going on right here like a bionic guy. I threw out my hip, dislocated my shoulder, cracked a couple ribs, and ended up with a brain injury. And to me, as I was going through that, I was so cognizant of the fact, I was like, you know what? Because there's so many days I couldn't control my emotions. I didn't have hope for the future. I couldn't even see the future anymore. My ability to look out far in the future was kind of gone. And it was like, oh man, it sucked. There were so many days I was super sad because my emotions were all over the place because of the injury. It was an awful experience. But there weren't too many days that I lost perspective in such a way that I never really forgot that, you know what, someday I'm going to have to explain that I had a brain injury, and I'm either going to go, gosh, I had it and my life still sucks, or I'm going to say, you know what, I had it and I did everything I could to come through, even a physical limitation like that. And it's not in any way making myself, the hero of the story, because some of the people who inspire me the most, I have a friend who, literally cannot walk, lost use of both of his legs in war. And he's one of the champion wheelchair basketball player guys, right? And, for years and years, he was miserable and sad and hated himself. And obviously, to lose the ability to walk, to become paralyzed. But he just said, you know what? I'm not going to be the person who goes through this and gives up on life. I'm going to get the training, the support, and do the work to try to lift myself into something, because it's the choice we get. We're going to give up and check out, or we're going to work hard and rise up. That demarcation line, discouragement to come back. Give up, check out, or engage, rise up. One thing we know from the world's largest studies of high performers is they always say they're fully engaged in their experience. And I always love that. It's because we're either avoiding things or running from things, or we are engaging it and facing it head on. But what lifts us is when we can go, you know what? If I pull through this, man, it's going to be a good story. If I pull through this, man, some people are going to see this and be inspired. If I pull through this, okay, something good is going to happen. You know, I don't pretend that it's easy, but I do pretend to tell you that you got a choice. You're going to stay with this story where you're down and out, people took advantage of you, and you're going to relive this one and play it forever and relive those old chapters over and over, read them over and over and over and over and over again, or you're going to start telling yourself a new story, that you got an opportunity to rise and be the role model for someone who's going through the same thing. I'm not the only one who ever went through a brain injury, so I hope that my efforts to recover, to do the hard work over that 2.5-year period can inspire some people to say, hey, you know what? Maybe I don't just have to accept where my mind, body, and brain are. I can rehab, I can change. And I've always been inspired by people who did that. I really do believe that. I really do believe that. I will also say that the role model mindset is integral to the highest level of success. Not just the comeback story. Let's go to the end chapters, right? The very end chapters of life. When you look back at life, we know that high performers view themselves as role model. And if you view yourself as a role model, even if today you suck, but you start adopting the role model mindset, like how would I behave if I was a role model right now? What would I be saying to myself? How would I treat other people? What would I do? Even if when you just are starting or you are down and out, you can step into the role model mindset. Step into the mindset that says, the way I live my life can serve as an example. The way I live my life can serve as an example. The way I live my life can serve as an example. And if I can step into that, then just maybe I'll work a little harder to change. Because you'll do more for other people than sometimes you'll do for yourself.
Now I want to share with you what I call the ladder of perception. It's just a way of understanding how your mind works. So often we go through the day, something happens and it turns us into a bad mood, and for the rest of the day we're kind of wrecked and ruined and upset and frustrated, and it's not until we go home, have 5 glasses of wine that we finally chill out, right? So what can you do in the middle of the day to get yourself back? It's just helping you understand, well, how do your thoughts work? How is it that you're getting into these times in your life where you're just emotionally so upset or so frustrated, or you feel like you're just not in control? And how can we use that same reasoning to figure out how can you shape a more positive mindset? Because we all want to feel better, right? We want to have more positive thoughts. It's just hard when the day is crazy. We all want to have a lot more buoyancy and vibrancy and pop to our life, but it's hard when we keep taking in so much information that's not always positive, right? So this is going to be a way to explain how to get you in a better mindset. And it all begins with this first part. The first thing that happens to shape your way you think is you get some information, right? Super basic, I know, but hold with me for a second. Sometimes we don't realize how much information is coming in that is turning us into a negative person. And sometimes information happens and we grab hold of it and make it more than it is. I mean, has anyone said to you in the last couple months, hey, it's not a big deal, calm down? If they had, it's because there's this information coming in and you're grabbing it in a specific way that's turning your mind towards negativity. And I know this sounds very, very basic, but I promise we have to start with what's coming in, right? It's just that old saying, garbage in and garbage out. So what I tell people, if you want to have a healthy mind, first and foremost, pay attention to the information that is coming in. What are you consuming? What are you looking at? What are you watching? What are you reading? Who are the people who are around you? All of that is shaping your mind, which I know you already know. Here's the question. When's the last time you did sort of an assessment or an analysis of the people and the information coming in? Like, what blogs are you reading a lot? What do most of your emails seem to say? Who are the people who are around you? What's the emotion and the energy and the information they're giving you? I know this sounds really crazy, but I am so controlling of that in my life. I don't have a lot of negative people who are always giving me negative information. I don't consume very much media at all. I don't watch horror films, or I don't consume a lot of information that just tends towards the negative at all. Not because I'm Pollyannish, because I understand how it's going to affect me long term. So pay attention to the information you have coming in. Second, as the ladder goes up, well, we get the information and then we interpret it one way or another. This is where obviously we know we see something, some information comes in, we interpret it as bad or good, positive, negative, something I need to interact with and react to or not. The challenge is most people take little pieces of information and they blow it up and they interpret it to mean something very personal and very negative. If you're in a place where you feel like you have a lot of arguments and fights, it's rarely about what's coming in, because we all deal with negative information or bad things, or the day gets interrupted. It's how do you interpret it? Then as we move up, we move to identity, right? This is, what did I see? What does it mean, positive or negative? Then it says, what does this mean about me specifically, right? And this is where people take things very, very, very personal. You know, someone comes in to work and says, well, I have some bad news. We're gonna have to let some people go today. And then they interpret it, oh my God, this company's gonna fail. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to quit. Oh my gosh, I might get fired. Oh my gosh, what's gonna happen in the future? And then identity. Here it is again. I failed again. Here it is again. I never seem to get good things from me. Here it is again. I just don't seem like I'm deserving of anything. And people take things at a personal level into their identity over a period of time. Now you can see how this ladder is building, because negative information can come in, you interpret it negatively, and then you take it personally negatively. And this is what happens to people. They don't realize little simple things. Someone cuts you off in traffic. How do you interpret that? See, when someone cuts me off in traffic, I go, oh, well, they didn't see me. Or, they were trying to get ahead here. Other people, you know what they do. They're like, that son of a, and they get completely angry. They completely freak out. They say, all drivers are horrible. I hate this commute. This sucks. And then they say to themselves, they take it so personally, they say, you know what, I'm gonna get back at this person. I'm not gonna be wronged. I'm not gonna be disrespected. So they speed in front of them and cut them off, because they took someone passing in front of them to be what? Disrespect to who they are. Because they're a person who always feels disrespected. And if you always feel disrespected, what are your thoughts going to be like? So you see how all this is starting to build to how you feel, and then it shapes what you intend in the world. What are you going to do, right? Your mind is all focused towards this one simple set of questions. It's, what does all this information mean? How do I need to interpret it? Pay attention to it, not pay attention to it. Important, not important. Good, bad. Then we take it to us. What does this mean to me personally? What does it say about me as a human? What am I dealing with here? And then it ultimately shapes our intentions. So the next time you find yourself in emotional craziness, or you feel really upset, or you're saying, I don't know why I'm thinking this way, you can step it back. What did I hear? How did I interpret that? What did it mean to me? What do I intend to do? Because all of that led to what you ultimately do, the initiative that you take in the world, right? What you're actually going to be doing. So here's the payoff. When you're doing things that you are not proud of, when you are doing things that you think like, I don't understand why I'm not taking more action. I don't understand why I keep beating myself up. I don't understand why I keep getting in fights with the people that I love. I don't understand why I can't stay more persistent towards my goals. If that ever happens, just take a pause and go, you know what? I need to think about what is happening here. Because it's the way that you're perceiving in the world that is controlling how much you progress in the world, right? And a lot of people, when they're having negative behavior, they just think it's happening to them. And I say, oh, let's just step it back. Okay, you were mean to your husband, okay? You found like you were really short with them. Where did that come from? And then we can just step it back. How are you feeling about yourself in that circumstance or that situation that led this way? What happened? What did your husband do? What did he not do? And how did you interpret it? And ultimately, what did you see or not see and experience? I know it sounds so basic, but try it. If you can work this through on a couple of different examples from your recent past, just think about those times when you really struggled or you didn't feel good, go through this, write it down, journal it, and you'll start to feel a lot more understanding about who you are and how your mind works.
People ask me, Brendon, how do I reprogram my mind? And I'm like, that's kind of creepy. Are you a cyborg? Like, why did somebody one time like ninjutsu your brain and hypnotize you into thinking something horrible? Like, why do you need to reprogram anything? Most adults don't need to reprogram something. They just need to program it for the first time. You know, it's like there was never actually any programming that happened anywhere. There was just all these patterns of incidences and these circumstances that have all coalesced into sort of these automatic thoughts and behaviors that they aren't necessarily being responsible for. They come up automatically and they happen to them. It's not like someone said, I want you to think this, I want you to think this, I want you to. No one ever sat you down and probably just like, woo, maybe it happened, but for most people, that never happened. What they're really saying is, Brendon, I need to get a hold of my mind, man, because sometimes I just got these constant negative recurring thoughts that come up. I can't get rid of them, or sometimes I get obsessed about this one bad thing that happened to me, or sometimes I say, I just can't even control my attention, dude. So what they're really struggling to do is to master their mind in a more sort of capable way. So let's talk about how your thoughts are generated. And some of this you might already know. If you've read my book, The Charge, or you've seen some of my other work in High Performance Academy, we talk a lot about how do you master your psychology. I'm gonna give you one simple framework to think through, and then some tips and tools and strategies you can immediately input into your life to better manage your mind. The first thing, if you're having negative recurring thoughts and feelings that are coming up, those are really, they're easy. And here's what I mean by that. We kind of have two systems of thought, psychologists like to say now. We have the system one theories, in which the system one is your automatic, just unconscious, immediate thoughts and impulses that come up from your body that usually your brain is just saying, hey dude, we've thought through this before, or hey dude, we're trying to protect you. So it's running at a very baseline, easy, energetic level. Your brain loves to optimize itself. It doesn't like to have to do a whole lot of thinking. It just likes to say, what do we already know? How can we apply it to this situation? So if you had fears in the past and a similar situation is here, your body just generates those fears and says, hey man, run away again. If you had challenges in the past and you want to protect yourself, your brain just says, hey, protect yourself right now, we're worried about this. But sometimes those are not helpful thoughts. They're automatic, but they're not actually helpful. It's just your brain saying this is the easiest route we know. And part of becoming a more mature, conscious, enlightened person is to better take control of our system two, which is our sort of conscious dashboard on our mind, our ability to more directly work, control, generate, and create our own thoughts and behaviors in the moment, not relying too much on just the things that come up for us. Now, of course, we're always going to. Most of our lives is very system one driven, very unconscious, automatic. We're just going through the motions. But the people who achieve the peak amounts of success, the highest performers in the world, have said, you know what? I need to discipline my mind to support me even when it comes up with an automatic, immediate thoughts. I want those to be positive and buoyant and confident and strong, something that leads me to healthy decisions for my life, not just things that protect me. And so I think that we have to learn how to do that. One of the simple ways to do that is this framework to understand how thoughts develop into strong and automatic thoughts in our lives. I call the framework RWID, which stands for relative, weight, of importance, and duration. People often who have negative recurring thoughts and feelings in their life, the reason those keep coming up all the time is because they at some point in their life or continually are giving those thoughts, the negative ones, more attention than necessarily any other thoughts. In other words, the relative weight that they give those thoughts is quite high. And they give a lot of importance to them. So those thoughts are very important to me right now. And they're durational, they last over a period of time. They keep thinking about those thoughts, thinking about those thoughts, thinking about those thoughts. And it's all that repetition that seals it in the back of their head. And now their head says, oh, this is an easy thing. I know this one, and it pulls it forward. So that simple repetition, because they made it important and they thought about it a lot, it keeps coming up for them over and over and over again. So there's a good negative thing about that and a positive thing. The negative is, if you keep obsessing about negative things, your mind will be automatically conditioned to bring it up more and more and more often without your control, just automatically. The positive aspect is we can use that same skill set and that same rule to apply positive thoughts into our own life. We can give positive thinking, positive questions, positive approaches to life a lot of importance in our life and a lot of focus on them and give a lot of duration to them over a period of time. And they get sealed in the brain as well. And now the brain says, well, that's easy, automatically thinks about it. So for me personally, I've done this so much in my life that I automatically think about the best possible outcomes in almost everything I do. I used to think about the negative outcomes. I thought, that's not supporting me. So how did I do that? Well, leveraging RWID, it helped. And let me break it down for you a little bit about how you could do this, because the first thing you have to do in order to improve your mind is take total control of your attention. And notice, where are your thoughts right now? At a very continual basis, you have to think, where are my thoughts right now? Are they supporting me, or are they automatically coming up negative and self-protective in ways that are not advancing my life? Just to be aware, to be conscious of what's going on in your body, in your sense of feeling and emotion, and the sense of the thoughts you're actually having. Just start paying attention. You know, for a lot of people, because they've never done this before and it's hard to remind them to do it, it's like simple. Here's what I want you to do. Just start paying attention to your thoughts anytime you're in line. Anytime you're in line from now on. If you're in line at Starbucks, just say, I'm in line at Starbucks. Brendon said, think about my thoughts. What are my thoughts saying right now? Just checking in. You're in line in traffic, waiting for the next car. Just sit and think, what are my thoughts right now? And just notice what you've been thinking about. The more we notice what we've been thinking about, the more we can interrupt what we've been thinking about. See, if we just allow that feeling to keep coming up and we don't pay attention to it, our life can be very frazzled and very highly anxious. But once we say, what's my mind on right now? And we redirect it, that is where personal power comes from. First, awareness, right? And understanding and the consciousness to what's going on. But then the ability now to be self-directive, to choose what we want to focus on. So first we're attentive to it, and then redirect it. If it's negative, it's not supporting you, redirect it. How do you redirect it? First and foremost, you just say, what would be the opposite of this negative thing? Then you think about the positive thing, and you focus on that, and you repeat it to yourself. For many people, that might include closing their eyes, just visualizing a more positive outcome. Thinking about the more positive outcome. Thinking about the more positive outcome. Thinking about the more positive outcome. Focusing on it with their eyes closed. And that visualization of a more positive outcome, of how things could turn out well, or how the situation could be better, or even just what are the next steps I should take. Visualizing that and assigning a high amount of importance and duration to it, meaning making that thing important to us by making it, how do you make something important? You give it a sensation. You feel that thing. You sense it. You sense what your next step would be. You sense how it would feel if the outcome would be better. How would it feel emotionally, psychologically, spiritually for that thing to be up? Allow it to have a lot of emotion to it. Pay attention to it. Your eyes closed, you see that thing, you feel it, you sense a different step, you know what you're gonna do, you pay attention to it, and you keep focusing on that, just over a period of minutes. Keep focusing and keep focusing and focusing. When your mind automatically wants to go back to the easy, which might be negative, you go, no. I'm not into easy right now. I'm into conditioning my mind. Focus, 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 focus. Give attention, duration, and sensation to it. Attention, duration, sensation. Attention, duration, sensation. Visualization, visualization, visualization. It's repetition of that positive alternative to a negative impulse that comes up that gives us personal power. Let me say that again. It's that attention to that positive alternative over attention to repeating that negative impulse or thought that gives us personal power. It's not that we're gonna someday wake up in the perfect world in which we don't have negative thoughts. There's plenty of times I struggle too. I come up with this, I'm thinking about a new dream, a new goal. I'm gonna go interview some major celebrity, or we got a big time celebrity client, and I get a little nervous, and I can start thinking about all these negative things that could happen if I screw up. My mind immediately interrupts that now, because my mind goes, relative weight of importance and duration, Brendon. You can either give this thought more time and energy and focus, or you can just stop it and force your brain, creatively force it to direct it to a different possible alternative. Force it. Literally go, oh, I'm sensing this negative thing over here is coming up for me. I'm sensing it. Stop. Okay, get to work, brain. What positive thing could I create and focus on? And close your eyes and think about it and focus on it and focus on it and focus on it and build it out. Make it elaborate in your own mind so you can visualize and see it and feel it and focus on it, focus on it, focus on it. Literally, later on in the evening, focus on it again, focus on it again. You start building in that capacity. Now, if this all sounds way too philosophical and you're like, dude, how do I land this? How do I make it happen? Here's a very simple thing you can do to reprogram your mind. Create a sheet of 2 simple things, very simple things. I want you to write 5 questions down that you're going to ask yourself 3 or 4 times a day. 5 questions that are positive for yourself. That every day, you're gonna wake up in the morning, you're gonna read these questions to yourself, you're gonna answer them. You're gonna read them, you're gonna answer them. Every morning. Then at lunch, read the questions, answer them. At night, read the questions, answer them. These can be questions like, what can I feel incredibly grateful for right now? How could I surprise or flirt with somebody right now? How could I have fun right now? Positive things like that, right? How could I demonstrate love or excellence right now? Ask these questions in the morning. Ask them in the afternoon. Ask them at night. By asking these positive questions over and over, I mean, you just do this for 30 days, you're gonna recognize a total shift in your life. Just simple questions, but you're giving them weight by focusing on them 3 times during the day. You're having duration by focusing on it 3 times during a day over 30 days. Your mind starts to reshift its gears to give automatic ease to answering those questions and living in that mindset versus an undirected, unconscious mindset. Second thing on that sheet, or those things you can do, 5 questions first. Second thing I want you to do is come up with 3 words that describe your ideal self. Just 3 words. You know, mine are, for example, present, excited, and bold. So I'm gonna focus on those questions 3 times a day as well. What I do is I put them on my iPhone and they come up as an alarm 3 different times during the day. Just my phone buzzes and those words are there. I'm like, oh right, I'm that guy. I gotta focus on being that guy versus whatever I might be in a bad mood. I'm like, you know, completely detached. And then I look, I'm like, dude, no, I'm an excited person. Break that thought, get back into this, got it. This is who I am. And now that might sound so simple. Simpy? It sounds so simple, but guess what? People won't do the discipline. They are so frustrated with their mind because they haven't done the conscious discipline to reprogram it. That's the last thought here. Yes, we all have unconscious thoughts, every single person of us. If you don't have a mental disorder, then guess what? You have extreme power in your life to overtake it. And even those who have mental disorders, psychologists and therapists work with them to recondition their mind by allowing them a different way of attaching meaning to the past incidences. But even if they attach a different meaning to the past, the whole focus is bring them into today and teach them to use their mind to direct itself into positive orientations, to make healthier decisions, to enact healthier behaviors. If you can just focus on getting more attentive to what you're feeling, and then do these thought exercises. What questions? Who do I want to be? And you do that over and over again, everything changes. Last thought, our unconscious and our mind is incredibly programmed not just by thought, which is what I've been talking about, relative weight of importance and duration, focusing our attention on what questions we would ask ourselves, what positive alternatives can we create for ourselves, what labels can we create for ourselves to support us. But our mind also is incredibly conditioned by action, behavior. You've heard the term like fake it till you make it. I don't love that. I'd rather just say, you know what, just be authentic over and over and over and over again, right? If you take action on a consistent basis, it teaches your mind to do that. So do things that are positive for yourself. Take bolder actions. Teach yourself, I'm just gonna be confident, just for no other reason. Watch my video on being confident here on YouTube. I want you to really think about this. The more that you take action, the more your brain gets automatically conditioned to understand that's what we do. Hey man, that's just what we do. We just react to bad situations like this because that's how we've done it. You can actually condition your mind without doing any thought other than just behaving in a more positive manner. And suddenly you find yourself thinking more positively. I know it sounds duplicitous, but word is duplicitous? I think it's word. Sounds good. Good word. It's like a $10 word right there. That's a big word for a Montanan. But I really want you to think about that. Your actions condition your mind as much as your recurring thoughts condition your mind. So be a person of good, positive thinking. Be a person of good, positive action. And suddenly one day you'll wake up and you're like, I just feel amazing. I feel extraordinary. I feel positive. And that's what it feels like to live the charged life.
I'll give you 3 principles for greater discipline. And then I'll tell you the actual 3 things to do to generate more discipline in such a way that your personal growth grows, that you feel like alive and connected and meaningful and joyous on this journey, because that's what really matters. I mean, discipline sucks unless in some ways the outcome is progress, greater engagement and aliveness of life, and greater success in whatever way you measure that. So the 3 principles of all of discipline comes down to, number 1, mastering your schedule. I know that sounds so boring, but it is so absolutely fundamental to your focus, to your progress, to your health, to everything. It doesn't matter if you say, okay, I only want to schedule one thing today. That's fine with me. I'm not trying to own every hour of your life, but that one thing better be awesome, and it better be a needle mover. So scheduling, show up when it's scheduled. And then the third thing, which is most important, is a principle for all of discipline. No discipline happens unless on a real consistent basis, unless you have social connection. All of the research shows the most productive people, the most focused people, the people who are most fulfilled in doing meaningful work have attached a meaning that their focus, intention, their hard work is attached to social connection, meaning I'm going to show up for this because it's going to make me a better mom or parent. I'm going to get healthy so I have more energy for the kids. I am going to do this project so my team and company grows, so we serve more people and we make an impact. It's like the hard work must be attached to impact, but the impact isn't just self, like, oh, I'll get this. It has to have a social connection. Like you have to have a reason to show up over and over and over for others. It's why we always teach in high performance. You have to have a little card that says, who needs me on my A game today? Yeah. Like, I am disciplined because I wouldn't be less disciplined doing a morning show. I'm more disciplined doing a morning show because Jamie's there. She's waiting on the other end. If I don't get there, I feel like a chump. So that's important, you know. There's 3 principles, right? Schedule it, show up, attach social connection. But now here's the things I would do. If you said, Brendon, if you could only be disciplined about 3 things, what would you do? And it's not what you all think. It's totally not what you all think. And this is very much that makes me happy and progress in life. So they're not sexy. The number one thing, if I could give anyone a discipline to always do, on the first of every single month, you do a whole life review. When that calendar hits 1, as in the first of the month, you look at every major area of your life, you score yourself, you ask how you'd like to improve that. And what could you do this month? Because most people never improve their life because they never face their life.
Yeah.
You have to look at it. So every first of the month, that's for those who are new to us, GrowthDay actually began because I said, let's do our personal development on the first of the month. So I go live for 2 hours in GrowthDay. So if you're not a member, go to growthday.com because I do a full personal development seminar on the first of every single month. Because I feel like if we start the month off, we nail that, we start it with good attitude, energy, but also you're looking into the month and asking, is the way I've scheduled this month going to help me move towards the lifestyle I want or the accomplishment of the major 3 projects I'm working on in my life?
And also, if we don't do this, I feel like it is so easy. And how many people can relate to this? Where if you don't do this, all of a sudden you blink and you're like, oh, it's halfway through the month. Or, oh, 3 months have gone by. I don't even know how did this even happen, right? Yeah. How many times have we done that? Like, wait a minute, it's Thanksgiving. Like, wait a minute, it's spring break. And it's like your life just flies by in a blur.
This is for those who have the high performance planner, you know this page super well. This is your monthly review section in the high performance planner. And what it does is it makes you look at the 10 major areas of your life, from health to mental, emotional, partner or love, family, friends, mission, experiences, spirit, finances, learning, growth. It helps you reflect on the things you learned in the last month, learn about others, learn about yourself, what you're grateful for, the main priorities coming up, the decisions you needed to make or could make, your monthly review and orienting yourself to your year goals and 3-year goals. Like, if I don't do that on the first of the month, what happens is the middle of the month, what am I doing? I might be showing up, but I'm showing up in a hot mess all the time because I don't have direction.
Yeah.
So if I could give you anything, start the first of the month, super clear about that month. If that's all you did, I promise you'd be more engaged with your life. Second thing I do, I believe another review is needed every Sunday. So Sunday, do your weekly review and your weekly planning. I don't care if it takes 10 minutes, an hour. I think it's important to go, okay, on Sunday, is this upcoming week? Am I clear about what I want of that? Am I clear about how I can serve? Am I clear about these little slots of time? Do they make sense to me? I mean, just that it can take so fast. So third thing.
Yeah.
All right, listen, if I could give you 3 things to move the needle in your life. Number 1 is a monthly review. On the first of the month, look out for them. And notice, please don't think that this or the Sunday review, which is the second point, is just about your schedule. You are reviewing the major parts of your life. You're connecting with them. You're scoring them. You're asking what more you desire there. And what's something simple you can do to improve that area of your life each month. It doesn't have to be huge life transformation, because transformation takes time. You might just like this little thing, this thing, but being aware of it, that's important. So the monthly, then the Sunday, and then you have, I know everyone already wrote this in their things and they just know it to be true. You've got to win your mornings again and bring intention for, I think, 2 things every day. If we can bring intention for 2 things every day, we win that day. To me, the first one is I'm going to bring the joy to this day. I'm going to choose my attitude. I'm going to develop a mindset that is unshakable, that is joyful, that is, I'm going to be in every room. It doesn't matter if I'm the loudest. I'm going to try to be the most generous and grateful person in that room. I'm just going to bring good energy. Be responsible for the energy you are projecting onto others and into this world. So I think for me, that intention of, I have an intention to have joy each day. I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to make that happen, because sometimes life doesn't do it for you. Yeah. They just hasn't. So I'm going to bring the joy. So that's that's an intention. So what I'm saying is the third discipline is every day you have intentions for feeling life.
Yeah.
For me, feeling life means bring the joy. That's number 1. I'm going to bring the joy. And number 2, I'm going to make a moment with somebody today. Maybe I send them an audio. Maybe it's the way I look at my wife. Maybe it's the thing I call up my mom, and or I send a beautiful appreciation email or text to somebody. But every day, I'm going to bring the joy into the day, and I'm going to make a moment. Because at the end of your life, I learned this, I faced my death twice in my life. You remember these moments and scenes with other people. It's so important to realize that. And so you have to ask, are you going to have enough of those moments and scenes? Are they going to be, at the end of your life, you kind of, if it's true, you see a movie. What are the scenes of that movie going to be? You get to direct that. And I promise the scenes in the movie almost always have these beautiful connections with others. It's like most people don't realize the ending movie of their life is love scenes and connection scenes with other people, where like these like meaningful moments, if you will. Let's just call them meaningful moments. That's what you see at the end. Meaningful moments. So if that is true, if it's true, then you have to purposely structure and build in meaningful moments so you love the movie at the end. You know? That you love the movie, that you want to watch the movie again, that you appreciate it, that you're going to bust out the good wine and have that good popcorn with that meaningful movie. And so every day, that's mine. I'm going to bring joy to this day, and I'm going to make moments.
Yeah, that's so good.
You might have different intentions. Maybe your intention is like, I'm going to do this thing as a mom or as a leader or as a whatever. Doesn't matter to me. But if you don't have the intention, the days just blaze by, nothing. You can be working hard. You can get your schedule down. You can have your calendar prioritized with all the tabs and all the different marker colors and everything else. But if there's no intention for feeling today, you were a good robot today.
Yep.
But you didn't.
And we've all had days like that where we feel like a human doing, right? Not a human being. That's so good, Brendon. That's so good. And a meaningful moment can be different for every single person, but how many days do we go through and we forget? And a meaningful moment's free. You know what I mean? And it's like, how many days do we forget to do that? That's so powerful. I love that. So important. I love that.
To me, that's funny that the discipline is to have the intention, right? Yeah. Every day when you have the intention, or every moment or every experience, when you have the intention, it turns out better. Like this morning, we talked about, Jamie and I, before we started, we talked about like, what's the show about today? What's our theme for the week? Our theme for this week is focus and discipline. Our theme for the week, or the month in Growth Day is confidence. And if you're not a Growth Day member yet, please sign up at growthday.com, because last week I taught 2 hours on confidence. Jonathan Fields from the Good Life Project taught, over an hour and a half on confidence. And so did Dave Hollis. And they took questions and did coaching. And upcoming, we've got Mel Robbins, Jenna Kutcher, Jamie, oh my gosh, David Bach is this week. I mean, it's going to be epic, guys. So go to growthday.com because you can get live coaching twice a week with us, and you get the replays for less than $1 a friggin' day for the year. I mean, it's unbelievable. So go to growthday.com. It's my favorite thing. And my favorite thing.
Yeah, it's amazing what you're doing.
My favorite thing.
Glow, Atonmo, Prince EA. There's so many incredible people in there. So super excited.
Anthony coming up. He's
Anthony
just
Trucks.
fire.
I can listen to him all day long.
I know his voice.
I know. It's insane.
Okay. We're overtime. I love you guys. Listen, I want to remind you every day, you can choose a new attitude. You can improve. You can take that step. You can show up for your schedule. Just show up. Remember to do the things we talked about today. But remember, you're stronger than you think. Future holds good things for you, and every day is a good day to grow.
This can be your day for personal growth. This can be that day you committed to and you remember and you go, that was the day I got myself a community. I got better coaches. I committed to making my life the absolute best that I could. This is that day. Make today your growth day. Click the button on this page and sign up right now.